morning, everyone. Thank you so much for waking up early and joining me here today. Ayan. So let's start at exactly 10 a.m. In the meantime, make sure to have all your oils in front of you. Medyo mahaba tong lesson kasi while I was preparing the slides, I rummaged through GCMSs of different brands and I realized that, wait a minute, maybe we can include that, a little bit of GCMS para mas maganda yung discussion, hindi lang about oil. So I think it's going to be a fun class today. Alright, so let me just pull out my slides.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi. Feeling ko ako pa lang.
Hindi, marami kayo.
Okay.
Ayaw lang nila mag-video.
Okay.
Mag-hi naman kayo kasi feeling ni Ansha lang. Ayan, there they are. Isa-isa na silang nag-video.
Ayan.
Turn it on a bit para lang magkita-kita kayo. Maybe for 10 seconds lang.
Gaya nga nasabi mo, mukha pang hayop.
Ayan, so we have 19 participants, including the low tax, so 17. We have a few more. I think 20-something tayo today. But, yeah. So let me just make sure I'm sharing my screen. There you go. Can you guys see my screen now? Ayan. Okay. So hi! Good morning, everyone. I am Jirbie. If you guys are new here, I am a certified aromatherapist. I graduated from New York Institute of Aromatic Studies, and I've been teaching about essential oils for 3 years now. And today, basically, Sniff Sesh, if it's your first time to join the Sniff Sesh class, it's a monthly oily club that we have established since the summit. Kasi parang we wanted to get to know more about these unique oils na hindi nyo masyadong na-access or hindi nyo masyadong naiisip na gamitin. And therefore, we try to get hold of these oils and let you access the tackle versions para hindi ganun kabigat, di ba? Parang, if you're not really sure if you're going to be using that oil, then, we can have that in class and talk about it so that it's better for you to gauge if you need that talaga in your stash or, just to get to know more new oils versus yung mga common oils lang. So I think it's a really nice idea. And I've been having fun doing all these sniff sessions. So sana kayo din. So for today, we will be tackling amethyst, sandalwood, frankincense, and elemi. Okay, you don't have to have all the oils. Basta kung meron lang kayong ilan, that's totally fine. Okay, let me just scroll this down. Ayan. So there you go. I am Jirbie again. My forte or my niche in aromatherapy basically lies under French aromatherapy because it's the specialty that I decided to take. Herbalism, kasi it's very important for me to find ways using plant benefits aside from essential oil kasi I have cats. And then I'm very much into botanical beauty formulations, and very recently I am dabbling into animal aromatherapy. If you want to get to know more about me and all the things that I do, just search for couchwasabi in whatever platform that you decide on. So meron sa Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, wherever, I'm couchwasabi everywhere. Alright, so before anything else, let me just share some announcements. If you guys are free in the next coming weekends of February, I'll be having these classes, candle making workshop, natural candle making workshop. We also have soap making workshop. This is taught by my sister who is a professor in Ateneo. And then I also have natural perfume making class. So itong natural perfume making, hindi siya every month. Once every quarter, every year lang siya. Unlike the first two kanina, every month meron candle and soap making. But we have specialized classes once in a while, like from essential oil perfumery. And then perhaps sa March, we will be having our live shampoo bar making class. And then, open na rin yung registration for the March Sniff Sesh class. So, nandun na rin yung mga oils that you'll be tackling. Nasa reg form na rin. So, you can sign up after this class. Okay? The tackle oils will be available on Shopee within the week. Alright, so another set of announcements. If you guys attended today because of this Baker humidifier / diffuser, I'm sorry to disappoint you, it's not going to be raffled off today. I've already announced this in the last Sniff Sesh. So how it works is I'll be pulling in all the big ticket items, mga big ticket raffle items. Iipunin ko siya for our anniversary or Christmas party. Kasi our Sniff Sesh actually started last December, right? So, all of you who have been attending the Sniff Sesh month and month, I will give parang bonus points for loyalty. So, yung mga nakapag-attend ng December, January, up until this year of December, up until we're gonna be actually giving away all the big ticket items. What do I mean by big ticket items? Ito yung mga raffle prizes that are more than 2,000 pesos. So, iipunin ko siya para maganda. Meron tayong grand raffle draw this December. And all of you who have been attending month on month will have additional 10 points. So, meron kayong 1 point per month na nag-attend. But if you have attended since December and January, you will have additional 10 points. So, more chances of bringing home the big ticket items. Don't worry, kasi month on month, I will be having different items for raffle. Some of them oils lang, some of them diffusers, some of them other essential oil items. So, it's always going to be a surprise, everyone. And yun. Kasi itong Wickert diffuser, this is still on the way. So, pinadala siya from US, but it's made in Germany, and it's still on the way. I will be reviewing it soon, and I will be giving it away by December. And I will answer some of the questions that you have raised, medyo kanina lang, and why I think Ovatum is a better choice. Okay? So what is GCMS? If you guys have been dabbling into essential oils, if you have been following me on my Instagram, and if you've heard things about oils from our summit, I'm sure narinig nyo na yung GCMS. And this is what I hope a lot of hindi lang a lot, all of the oilers here in the Philippines would take time to check. Okay, so what is GCMS? GCMS is gas chromatography mass spectrometry. Okay, and this shouldn't be something very intimidating for you, for the companies, for anyone, because this is supposed to aid us, all of us, to help us determine or give us empowerment to choose which oils to buy. Basically, your GCMS is a document that would show you how pure or how adulterated or the quality of the essential oils that you are choosing. And that's why it's very important. If you have attended the DOST class, di ba meron parang section doon na parang sabi, parang decipher kung ano yung company na dapat nyong i-follow kasi meron siyang ganitong documents. Di ba meron ganung part? And it's really nice na they actually put importance to that. And that's something that I also wanted to carry on as part of my teaching na parang you have to be very critical of the companies that you source your oils from. Dapat meron silang GCMS. And it's cool kasi CDL meron na. When you check their website, yung mga locally produced, yung napag-usapan natin noon, di ba? Sana yung locally produced meron GCMS, meron na. So when you check their website, si Dalandan, Calamansi, Elemi, dalawang Elemi niya, meron ng GCMS. Although, you can understand kung bakit hindi niya pa kayang mag-provide per batch kasi it's expensive. At least they have a batch to show na meron na silang napatest. And if they've been sourcing it in the same farm or same source, more or less it's gonna be similar lang naman. Okay? Okay. Yeah. So, let us tackle Elemi. Elemi, under Canarium luzonicum, when you check its profile, I actually based itong major constituents. I got this from AromaWeb. So this is how you try to check information about your oil. So for example, with Elemi Canarium luzonicum, I just went to aromaweb.com and checked Elemi. So doon naman nakasulat basic information about whatever oil you want to get to know more about. And makikita doon kung ano yung major constituents niya. Why is it important? Kasi the GCMS of the company that you're planning to buy your oils from should fall dito sa declared major constituents niya. Meaning, kapag meron nag-iba doon, there's something wrong with that batch of oil. Perhaps merong contamination of pesticides, whatever, kaya biglang nag-spike yung isang constituent na hindi dapat sa normal, unadulterated batch of Elemi oil or whatever oil. So it's important for you to just log on to AromaWeb, quickly check on the major constituents, tapos counter-check it with whatever GCMS data that you have gathered from whatever company. For today, I will be presenting to you, I think, four companies, 4 GCMSs of different brands. A lot of other certified aromatherapists and companies refer to this kasi brand neutral siya. So it's just basically sharing with everyone information about the oil regardless of brand. Wala siyang pinapatronize na brand. Okay? So, Elemi, Canarium Luzonicum has these major constituents in their GCMS. Ibig sabihin, kapag pina-GCMS mo yung Elemi in whatever brand, dapat itong constituent, chemical constituent, yung mangingibabaw as pinakamarami. If meron nasama doon na medyo iba, ibig sabihin, there's something wrong with that batch. Okay? And when you counter-check Elemi in Tisserand and Young's book, yung Black and Yellow, yung Essential Oil Safety, second edition, it's actually noted there that Elemi oil may contain methyl eugenol, which is a chemical composition that can provide risks. And kapag nag-oxidize siya, hindi siya dapat ginamit na kasi it can be classified as CMR. Later on, I will tell you what is CMR. So, nandun din sa book ni Tisserand na dahil meron siyang methyl eugenol, anything that goes beyond 0.3% is not really advisable. So, pag 0.3%, over 0.3% yung methyl eugenol niya, dapat yung dermal limit mo has to be lower than 6%. That's a lot of percentage to think about, right? So, just remember, and I will share with you later, parang why is GCMS important in determining which brands you should go for because of these information. Okay? So, meron tayong Elemi, quickly check sa Aroma Web, and then, for example, you've been choosing between companies. Okay? Based on this information from Tisserand about methyl eugenol, ito yung risk ng Elemi, kaya siya hindi kid-safe. Ito rin yung chemical constituent kung bakit yung kanina na sinabi ni Sel, kapag Ovatum, bakit mas mataas yung dermal limit, but pag Luzonicum mas mababa? It's because of this methyl eugenol chemical constituent. Okay? And methyl eugenol, if ginamit mo siya sa skin mo nung oxidized, it can pose serious risks and sensitivities. Alright, so let's check Eden's Garden. Eden's Garden's batch of Elemi, Canarium, Luzonicum. Ito yung GCMS na available sa website. Again, if you're a very responsible essential oil company, dapat you make sure that your documentation, purity tests are very accessible to your consumers. There's no such thing as hindi pwedeng i-share kasi secret. There's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as hindi pwede kasi supplier lang. Walang ganun. If you find companies or if you come across companies na ganun yung kiniklaim, there's something wrong with that and I don't really recommend going for those companies. Okay? So for Eden's Garden, I checked their GCMS and you can actually see when you check methyl eugenol sa Eden's Garden, you can see that it's only 17%. So okay siya. Check. You can totally use this. No problem with this kasi it's way below the 0.3% na sinabi ni Tisserand para maging medyo delikado siya. Alright? So, what does this say to me? If I want to use my Elemi and if I'm sourcing my Elemi oil, definitely I can get it from Eden's kasi mababa yung methyl eugenol niya. Therefore, this is safe for me to use for myself and for my kid kasi it's basically half of the risk na sinabi ni Tisserand, right? 0.17 versus 30.3%. Now, let's check Florihana. This is another brand that has been used by a lot of certified aromatherapists. As they say, you can't go wrong with Florihana kasi nga maganda yung quality ng oil. When you check the GCMS from their website for Canarium Luzonicum, you can actually see yung methyl eugenol niya. I hope you guys can see it. Hindi ko na i-zoom. It's 0.23%. A little bit lower than the 0.3% declared by Tisserand. And what's interesting about Florihana, since this is a European brand and Europe, EU standards is always safer and more strict than US standards. You can see na dun sa GCMS niya, merong double asterisks. So, pag chinek mo, ano ba itong double asterisk na ito? Wait. And let's just zoom in so you guys can check out ano ba yung significance ng double asterisk yan. So, Florihana actually noted the double asterisk in methyl eugenol kasi it is classified as CMR. Yan, nakasulat dito. substance classified as CMR. And what is CMR? What the fucking hell is CMR? CMR is carcinogenic, mutagenic, and reprotoxic. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Carcinogenic can cause cancer. Surprisingly, Elemi has a chemical constituent that can cause cancer. That's very surprising. Or it can cause genetic mutations, mutagenic, or reprotoxic. It can affect your reproductive system and can damage the reproductive process. So this is very interesting to note na, oh, okay, so Elemi is not really as kind as your frankincense. So yung kiniklaim on ni CBL na similar as your Frank, it's not true kasi meron siyang methyl eugenol na wala kay Frank. Therefore, this poses more risks versus your Frank. Kaya it's very important for you to have access sa GCMS and to be able to break down the information presented in your GCMS. You don't really have to study all of these chemical constituents. All of these, hindi mo kailangan i-memorize kung ilang percentage, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make sense for lay people to memorize that. It's just important for you to be able to have that know-how, how to interpret yung basic information about it. So the way I do it is, I check sa Aromaweb, get yung information kung ano yung main constituent niya, and actually, when you check, like this Florihana GCMS, pinapakita naman niya ano yung major constituent niya. So when you check all of these constituent, or like when you check on yung top, dapat consistent siya dun sa binigay ni Aromaweb. So sinabi ni Aromaweb kanina, di ba? Ang top constituent niya is limonene, elemol, alpha, ito. So yan din yung lalabas dapat sa iba-ibang brands. Like this one, yung top niya is limonene, tama. Tapos check nyo lang, i-arrange nyo. Other companies would make it easier for you. They will arrange from top to least. Kaya mas mabilis yun. So for Florihana, you can check. On top, dapat limonene, tama. Tapos alpha, blah, blah, blah. Si where's that? Elemol, tama. So, pwede siyang hindi chronological according sa dineclare ni Aromaweb. Pero dapat yung top na constituent na sinabi ni Aromaweb, yun din yung top doon sa brand na tinitingnan nyo. Okay, that's the simplest way how you can check. And then yun, kapag meron mga companies na nagsasabi ng ganitong highlights, you just quickly check, okay, well, it's methyl eugenol. And then simple Google search will tell you what's it for and why they decided to put asterisks or highlight about it. Now let's check plant therapy. This is very interesting. And a lot of you girls I know have been patronizing plant therapy, no problem with that. But when you check the GCMS of Canarium luzonicum plant therapy, very interesting. Methyl eugenol ng plant therapy is actually 0.39. It's beyond what is safe as declared by TISERA. Okay? Okay, sabihin mo, wait, so but dito sa kabilang column, it's 28. Ang difference nitong BPS and wax is because every time plant therapy, I think with this company, yung Phytochemia, whenever they have a sample of oils, they use two parameters. They use BPS, it's parameter of analyzing the oil in a separate parameter, tas yung wax separate parameter din. Kasi parang doon mo mako-compare kung consistent ba yung chemical constituents that will be extracted in both parameters. There are I think there are 5 to 8 other parameters in extracting your oils or in measuring or gauging the purity of your oils. And normally it's BPS and wax for essential oils. I think Lou asked about this at one point in the Viber community chat group. If you're not part of that, maybe I can send also through email so you can be a part of it kasi marami din learnings doon. And I think I answered this in that community. Plant therapy, I think it's their standard to present 2 parameters of analyzing their oils. But there are other ways of analyzing depending on the machine that you're using and depending on the company where you submitted it from. Okay, so this is very interesting to note. Plant therapy's Elemi is not really that stellar. So kung ako, as a consumer, I would stay away from this because this is beyond the safe level of methyl eugenol. Okay? So ito, with plant therapy, they also put yung summary kung ano yung top constituents, very consistent with Aromaweb. It's just that when you look deeper and you check the methyl eugenol, ang taas ng methyl eugenol niya, it's something that I wouldn't want to buy for my home. Okay, so let's check CBL. Okay ba bumili kay CBL? What's good about CDL is they also send their oils to phytochemia. Same with plant therapy. There's another company who's sending to phytochemia. I forgot. Rocky Mountain Oils send their oil also to phytochemia. It's just that si Rocky Mountain walang Elemi. So I wasn't able to compare. um, okay, so for CDL, I checked their methyl eugenol. It's very interesting. Makita mo, 0.9% lang kay CDL. So what does that tell me? This is the best batch of Elemi Canarium Luzonicum available in the market. Kasi when you compare the methyl eugenol to specific chemical constituent that can pose risk and that makes it non-kid safe, kay Elemi sobrang baba. Diba? 0.9 lang. Sa iba, 0.39, 0.23, 0.17. And what is the factor that determines bakit nagkakaiba sila ng constituent? It's because of their background, kung saan siya ginow. Perhaps kung saan sinurse ng ibang companies yung Elemi nila, perhaps doon gumagamit ng, I don't know, fertilizers. Perhaps gumagamit ng pesticides, di ba? Perhaps gumagamit ng pesticides to grow their pili tree or Elemi tree, kaya merong methyl eugenol. You don't really know. Iba yung growing conditions kung saan nila sinusource. If GCMS and quality purity report are the same, okay, there are different kinds of purity tests. There are different kinds of tests that you can conduct, and GCMS is just one of them. GCMS is the standard for essential oils for aromatherapy. Meron din ibang tests na pwede nilang gamitin. GCMS in general is used not just by aromatherapists, but also in other industries like perfumery. GCMS tests can analyze gas, can analyze liquids, can analyze even solids. So maraming use in GCMS. It's just that sa aromatherapists, GCMS yung baseline natin. I know that when you go around, companies, they claim na, oh, meron kaming MSDS or meron kaming COA. Please be reminded that COA and MSDS are not the standard for aromatherapists. Those two other documents are import papers. You actually need COA and MSDS when importing chemicals kasi fragrances are classified as under chemicals. When you say chemicals, it doesn't mean bad flow. Chemicals, kasama dun yung essential oils, kasama dun yung fragrances. So, whenever you import chemicals, fragrance oils, and essential oils like, required yung supplier or yung producer magbigay ng MSDS and COA. Kaya kunyari umikot ka sa mall, dapat meron yung MSDS and COA kasi yung basic requirement for them to be able to import those fragrance oils in our country. Now, as certified aromatherapists, you really need GCMS kasi GCMS will tell you the purity or the specific chemical constituent of that specific oil. Ang MSDS, it will just tell you yung risk, in general information about risk, is it pregnant safe, kung saan mo sinurse, ano yung batch, blah, blah, blah. When, meron si CDL, when you check their website later, meron silang MSDS information. When you check COA, when you check essential oil brands na makikita niyo sa Shopee, they will readily present to you COA and MSDS, but those are not purity tests. Those are import papers. Remember that. As aromatherapists or as essential oil users, we only concern ourselves of the GCMS. Okay? So for Elemi ng CDL, this is really nice Elemi or nice quality of Elemi oil. Ako, as kayo, as oil users, as normal, common users, I would definitely go for this kasi ito yung pinapakita sa akin ng GCMS na among all the other companies that I'm comparing my Elemi to, CDL's Elemi is actually very, very good. It poses the least risk whenever I use it for myself or for my family kasi ang baba ng methyl eugenol niya. That's really nice. Now, this is very interesting, okay? And this is why I recommend when you're choosing Elemi from CDL, kung ano bang bibilihin ko, Canarium Luzonicum or Canarium Ovado. So when I checked the GCMS, and I think they recently uploaded lang yung GCMS data nila sa website, di ba? Parang pag-summit lang natin or nung January lang, very recently. When I tried to decipher their GCMS and check all their GCMS documentations, you can see that with Canarium Ovado, walang methyl eugenol. And what does this tell me? Kagaya ng sinabi ni Sel kanina, bakit si Elemi ng Canaryong Ubato mas mataas yung dermal limit mo? Bakit si Luzonico mas mababa? That's because of methyl-eugenol is not present in Ubato. No problem. My pleasure to talk about this with you girls. So, Canaryong Ubato is the best choice for me. Yun lang yung interpretation din. As a lay user, as a common essential oil user, what does this tell me? Oh, wow. Diba? It's basically omitted in Canaryong Ubato. It's safer for my family, it's safer for my kids, it's safer for topical application, and if I want a therapeutic benefit, I can harness it from Canaryong Ubato. So, kunyari ako as a lay user, dahil alam ko na yung chemical constituent na dapat kong pagtuunan ng pansin are given my attention, which is methyl-eugenol, and you see here in their GCMS na walang methyl-eugenol on the list of chemical constituents, it's clear as daylight that this is the safest choice for you. So yun lang yung use ng GCMS. And this gives you the power to realize that, you really have to check your GCMS. Ito yung use ng GCMS. Whenever you want to check a company's GCMS, don't let the company tell you or shun you or deny you of having access to it. Yung sinabi na, some of you girls have mentioned na when you ask for GCMS to some companies, some of them are very arrogant about it. Na sinasabi, why? Wala. You can't access it kasi hindi mo naman alam basahin. Don't let those companies do that to you kasi it's your right. As consumers, na kayo ang nagamit, kayo yung magbe-bear ng risk of using that specific oil. It's your right to demand to have access to those documentations. And this is how you can easily interpret them. Whenever a company would tell you or give you that impression of bakit hindi mo naman alam basahin, well, now you can tell them, yeah, you can. You can actually interpret it in the most basic and sensible way. You don't really have to memorize all the chemical constituents. Hindi nyo kailangan intindihin ano yung terpenols, monoterpenes, sesquiterpenes. Even ako, I have already graduated and have my certificate. Hindi ko memorize ang lahat. It's impossible. If you're not a chemist, deciphering all these constituents, it's impossible for you to memorize because there are thousands of chemical constituents in a bottle of oil. And what's presented in your GCMS is the chemical constituents that are only captured by the machine. Hindi pa ito lahat. Okay? So kung ano lang yung chemical constituents na loaded dun sa database ng machine, yun lang din yung nilalabas niya sa GCMS. Therefore, there might be other chemical constituents na hindi pa natin alam, hindi pa natin discover, hindi pa nalaload sa database ng machine at hindi lumalabas dyan. Kaya yun lang. Ito na yung pinaka-basic way that I can present to you how you can make use of your GCMS and make you realize why it's important to use and check them if you have access to them. Kasi it gives you the power to decide ano dapat yung brand na bibilihin mo. Especially when price is not a factor. For example, okay, pare-pareho lang sila ng presyo. Ano ba yung brand na pipiliin ko? Huwag lang tayo pupunta na sa kasi yun yung sale, dun tayo. So now you have another layer of deciding factor, di ba? Na parang it empowers you kung ano dapat yung pipiliin mo. So I hope this bit of information, actually that's my last slide, I hope this bit of information is very useful for everyone. The replay will be uploaded on my Patreon. It's a pay-per-view kind of thing, but I think I will be posting the Q&A for public. So I am opening, yeah. Well, I'm very happy that I'm very happy for you girls who have decided to join because of this part. Kasi it's also first time for me. Actually, kahapon nung ginagawa ko yung slides and then I discovered this. I think this is nice information to be added and to be presented to you girls. Kasi nobody has really talked about this, right? No other, even the international certified aromatherapist, nobody has even covered this part, why GCMS is important, how you can interpret GCMS in a layman's term. Everybody just says, oh, you have to access GCMS, but if you have access, anong gagawin mo sa GCMS, diba? What does it mean to me? So this is how you do it. This is why it should mean something to you. Okay? So now we are opening our floor for Q&A. I hope you have answered some of your questions earlier, but if you have more questions, it's time for you to shoot them now. Turn on your audios, turn on your videos, and let's see each other.
Uh, Jirbie, I do have a question. Medyo na ano kasi ako kanina do sa bit about yung methyl-eugenol content ng bawat oil. So again, ano yung factor? Bakit nagkakaroon ng ganun? Because of the use of pesticides?
Okay, methyl-eugenol is a common chemical constituent found in Elemi. Ang sabi ko, pwedeng mag-iba-iba yung chemical constituent ng batches of oils depending on the growth factors or factors while it was grown. And then these factors can be because of the growing condition like yung environment, pwedeng yung weather, yung season, pwedeng sa paggamit ng mga pesticides, pwedeng sa paggamit ng fertilizers, it can also affect the chemical constituent kasi we are sourcing the essential oils from plants. And yun yung hindi, kaya nahihirapan yung science or yung medical science to parang nahihirapan silang i-treat siya as pharmacy kasi parating nag-iiba yung GCMS mo per batch. Kasi nga, the nature evidently affects whatever that you're growing. So, kunyari, may plant tayong sweet orange seed. Tapos, I don't know, you planted it during summer. The essential oil that you will harness from that batch of tree will definitely different from the batch that you have tried to grow or tried to plant during spring. Kasi iba yung growing conditions. And methyl-eugenol is something na meron talaga innately sa Elemi. That's why ninote siya ni Chris Rand na dahil dyan sa methyl-eugenol na yan, which is innately present in your Elemi, it can pose risk. Kaya siya hindi kinategorize ng plant therapy as kid safe because of the methyl-eugenol. So meron talaga siyang methyl-eugenol. Now, what will make you decide? Yun nga, pinakita ko sa iba-ibang companies ng Elemi, nakikita nyo iba-ibang levels of methyl-eugenol. Now, dahil galing siya sa iba-ibang sources, iba-ibang countries, iba-iba rin yung growing conditions, di ba? Kaya makikita nyo iba-iba yung levels ng constituents niya. And in that presentation, I just showed you na, if you want to have your Elemi, dun na tayo sa local. Kasi sa atin, actually, pinaka-safe. Sa atin yung pinakamababa yung methyl-eugenol content and mura pa. So, yun. When you try to also analyze other oils, for example, after this class, it piques your interest, diba? When you try other oils, you try to analyze yung mga merong claims. Kasi meron oils like, ano ba yung ibang oils na sabi nila hindi pwede kasi carcinogenic or meron parang chemical constituent that can be a risk? I think phenol, diba? Ira, do you know any other oil na parang may risk? Yung parang meron siyang caveat.
Risk? Actually, madami. Yes. Meron kasing mga neurotoxic, parang kunwari wintergreen is not good to use for people with blood disorders kasi yung anticoagulant effects niya, it makes it worse. So, for example, yung Eden's Garden has, dati diba they have that head ease, which is binili ko talagang 2 bottles because it has wintergreen. And they actually formulated it safely to be able to be used topically for 5%. But then, because of the wintergreen, they got some reports ata, because of its safety, having wintergreen in their head ease blend, pinalitan nila and they reformulated it, so wala na siyang wintergreen. So, may mga companies kasi na ganon, they have to, focus on the safety, especially if may reports about that. Tapos wala pa siyang child cap lock.
Tama.
Also, kaya yung ibang nagpapalit sila ng cups if they have wintergreens because it's, for example, that small bottle of wintergreen kasi has, anong tawag na nun? Methyl salicylate. So, the salicylic content of it, 4 ml lang, could kill a child. And that is just 2.5 tablets of aspirin na for adults. So think of that, it can actually kill a child for just 4 ml. If you will just put it in a teaspoon, ang liit lang nun. So accidents happen, especially sa US, ang daming accidents kasi sa essential oils. That's why they have been very strict when it comes to capping, FDA regulations. So, wintergreen has a lot of health benefits. Pero dahil sa content niya na salicylate, it poses a lot of risks and fatalities. That's why, although it's very good for pain talaga. So, rheumatisms, sciatica, backache, headache, migraines. Pero yun nga, you have to take considerations about the contents that it has. That's why, kaya tinitingnan, kaya ito rin talaga, ang kailangan kong gamitin ever since kapag nag-mix ka ng oil, especially, we have a lot of senior citizens, for example, they want pain, but you really have to consider every constituent that it has for their maximum dilution. So, ako first ko talaga yung Sniff Sesh ni Miss Jirbie. That's why I'm excited. Kasi I don't have all the oils, but I'm very interested on, sniffing kasi I have nasal problems. So the sniffing is really challenging for me. Ano pa ba? So yun lang talaga. For example, you have a senior citizen. So people, they don't think na, safe siya kasi wala naman siyang medical conditions. But again, you have to consider their age. Kunwari, 70, pero wala daw siyang medical condition, walang hypertension. You still have to consider that age range for their safety whenever. Yeah, so ito, masaya lang. Sniff Sesh. So I was thinking, Jirbie was saying that the maximum dilution of Elemi is, what's that, 2% ba?
2. Sa Luzonicum.
Sa Luzonicum. But also, based from the teaser end kasi, it has the 0.3, sa akin lang based from readings, the 0.3 content of Elemi, of methyl-eugenol, poses risk because it can be carcinogenic. But again, it has this limonene content which is anti-carcinogenic naman. So it's like fighting against each other, the effects, but then mas mababa yung methyl-eugenol. So the maximum dilution for the adult, for a healthy adult of Elemi would be 6.7. If you have higher eugenol content, then the maximum dilution would be lower. But if you have lower naman or mas mataas naman ang methyl-eugenol, then the maximum dilution would be also different. So again, it will depend on the GCMS reports. That's why we keep on telling you guys that GCMS is really our baseline of work when it comes to science. But the blending, of course, it's a beautiful art. Yun. Thank you. Ang haba.
Okay lang. Thank you so much for that. So, yun. That's why GCMS is very important. Yeah, I was asking kung ano pa yung ibang neurotoxic oil. So, Elle, thank you so much. Okay, so after this class, you can actually check out different GCMS ng rosemary, ng spearmint, kasi yung mga common. Sage is not really used commonly. I mean, I've never really got my hands on sage kasi I think maraming risks sa sage. Number one, si sage oil is not safe for pets, so parang definitely hindi siya magagamit. But commonly, you will always have your rosemary and your spearmint. So maybe it's very interesting for you to check out different GCMSs of these from across brands and try to analyze the way we analyze today. So yan yung parang homework niyo. Kung gusto niyo mag-practice on how to decipher GCMS, pwede niyo i-check out yung rosemary and spearmint after the class. And maybe you can share sa Viber community group or maybe you can share sa group natin until you discover. I'm sure it's very interesting. Okay, so anybody else has a question about anything about oils before we end the session? Anyone else? Yeah, Sel, game.
Yung sa oval pala, di ba sabi mo na pwede for kids? So, for
Yes.
topical dilution, 4% din ba? Or it should be lower?
Okay, so for since na-establish mo na, okay, si Canarium ovatum, wala siyang methyl-eugenol, wala siya yung risk, kumpara, wala siya yung chemical constituent that is primarily causing the risk. Therefore, you follow the normal dilution chart for kids. Diba?
Mhm.
So, safe na siya. Wala ka
Okay.
nang iintindihan na 4% lang ng total, tapos iintindihan mo pa yung percent dilution, ang daming percent, kasi stress tayo lahat, ganun, di ba? So, yun. Kaya ako, yun yung parang very basic way for you to understand na why you need to check GCMS, why is it important na dapat may access kayo, and how it can help you decide kung ano yung pipiliin mo. Like Ira mentioned na, okay, ito yung given information about GCMS, mataas naman yung limonene. But remember, lahat ng Elemi, mataas dapat yung limonene. It's the first constituent, yung majority constituent. So, ang basahan mo na lang talaga from choosing across brands is, okay, meron ba siyang methyleugenol? And given that set of data from across brands, you see na CDL has the lowest. So, no-brainer, definitely CDL tayo. Diba? And then, when you compare the two CDLs, kay Ovatum and Luzonicum, you can actually see na si Ovatum wala talaga. So, evidently, kung same lang ang presyo nila, same silang nakasale today, saan ka pupunta? Definitely kay Ovatum. It's a no-brainer way of deciding. Kaya next time, be empowered to request for the GCMS talaga from companies kasi it's a tool. It helps us. Hindi lang siya fancy way of telling people that you know GCMS. It's actually something that's very useful for everyone to be used as a deciding factor where to source your oils. And ayun nga, like what I've mentioned in my previous sessions, important talaga for essential oil companies to take time in sending their oils. Ito, like CCDL, they actually send when you check the GCMS documents, I will also send yung GCMS ng Elemi dun sa mga kinuhaan ko para lang hindi na siya kailangan i-download. Nandiyan na siya. When you check the GCMS ng CASA, they actually sent it 2 years ago. 2018 pa siya. So yun, it's very important for companies to take time to give budget and give money in testing their oils. Kasi for their credibility, for our safety as well. Diba? My supplier only provide purity test. Is it okay? What kind of purity test? Maybe you can, kapag yung purity test, meron yung different chemical constituent, then it's fine. Kasi I've seen other European companies na ang tawag nila sa GCMS nila is purity test. Pero makikita mo yung chemical constituent. As long as nakikita mo yung chemical constituent na pinakita ko kanina, yung makikita mo sa aroma web, then it's fine. Because maybe iba lang yung pangalan sa Europe. And most essential oil traders or yung company na nagpe-peddle ng essential oils to different companies from Europe. So if they call it as purity test in general, then you can just check ano ba yung purity test. If it shows that different chemical constituents, then it's the same. Other companies like etong si Eden's Garden, one-pager lang siya. So may graph na malaki, tas maliit na parang chemical constituent list. When you check naman others, especially if you have it tested from phytochemia, it's gonna be a 10-pager thing. Marami siya. So different companies, depending kung saan nila pinatest, iba-iba yung itsura ng GCMS, but it tells you the same thing. Ano yung major chemical constituent? Yun yung dapat na makita mong data. The graphs are just fancy things. You don't really need that. You can't really interpret that unless you are a chemist. It doesn't mean to you anything to you. It doesn't mean anything to me. What's important to us is yung summary of the chemical constituent, yung major summary of the rest of the chemical constituents. Kasi, ang important lang naman, for example, wala kang nakitang data kay Tesserant na dapat mong, walang asterisk data, for example. Walang warning data, for example. So, ano yung titingnan mo? You just have to check the major constituents there. Ano yung top niya? If the top is consistent with what you see on AromaWeb, then it's fine. Wait, I'll show you this. Ito yung kay CDL na Luzonicum. I'll just quickly share again my screen. There you go. Okay, so let me just share with you Casa de Lorenzo's GCMS for Luzonicum. Yan, I'll zoom it out. So ito yung itsura ng GCMS na naka-upload kay Casa de Lorenzo for their Luzonicum oil. You can see at the second page, meron siyang summary talaga. So normally, ito yung nasa documentation ng phytochem. It makes it easier for you para hindi ka na mag-rummage through. But then, of course, you can still himay it and scroll down and check the rest of the constituents. But normally, kay phytochem meron ng ganyan. Yung iba naman, merong pie chart, pareho kay Florihana. And these, ito lang yung i-compare nyo with AromaWeb's data. Kung yun, tama ba? Tugma ba? Itong kay phytochem, they even, raise it up a bit kasi meron po nakasulit kung compliant ba sa common result. So, makikita mo kay Tessa, okay, yung ibang constituent na hindi compliant, meaning may spike, meaning either masyado siyang mataas or masyado mababa than the normal. But that's okay. Kasi nga, depende pa rin yun sa growth conditions. As long as ito yung major na nandyan, pareho dun sa nakadeclare kay AromaWeb, it's fine. It's alarming lang, or parang you have to take note of it lang. Kapag meron ibang constituent na kasama sa major ng GCMS, ng whatever company na yan, you can maybe do a quick Google search about it. Okay, bakit mas mataas yung, for example, bakit mas mataas yung constituent na ito dito? Dapat bang nasa oil yan? Or ano ba ito? What's the significance of this spike? Yun, that is how you try to articulate the GCMS. And everything's so easy kasi everything is very accessible through Google. Okay? Yan. Ito, when you wanna check all the other constituents, but all of these things won't really mean anything to us. Kasi ang dami niya. And, diba, parang, ano naman yan? Ano naman si germaCND? What's that? You don't really know. You don't really care about that anymore. What's important is yung main constituents declared, if it's consistent or if it's in line with what's declared in the normal majority constituents of all the other enemies distilled worldwide. Okay? So yun. Yung ibang GCMS, walang ganun. Dito ka lang kay Casa nakita na meron siyang summary. Kasi to, you can always check in conclusion if it's not adulterated. A couple of years back, meron ako nakita nag-share ng parang database of GCMS from across brands. So kasama dun yung Now, yung YL, yung doTERRA, and in that database, alam ko nakapost yun before sa EOP. I'm not sure kung nasa na siya ngayon. Noon nakikita, doon na summarize, nung gumawa ng database na yun, kung ano yung oils na merong adulteration. So normally kasi, kapag pina-check mo siya sa phytochem or any other third-party laboratory, they will have to keep these in their record. So kunyari, nagpa-check si YM or si doTERRA, nagpa-check sila kay phytochem, kasama na yan ng database nila. It's something na hindi mo na ma-revoke, hindi mo na maitatago kasi kasama na sa records mo. And this is also one of the reasons why some companies are not willing to have their oils tested. Kasi hindi sila sure dun sa batch nila kung talagang wala bang preservative, kung walang adulteration. So kaya important na yung company is very sure of where they have sourced, kung traceable yung source ng material nila, ng oil nila. Kasi it will give them the confidence to have it tested kasi alam nilang walang adulteration. Okay? So, yun. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? Or are you guys happy with our discussion? May natutunan ba kayo today? If pala, meron kayong requests on what to take for the next Sniff Sesh, may nag-request last time ng blend. So, sino yun? Just let me know. Send it to me.
Ano nga ba yung blend na yun?
Merong may gusto ng Mercury retrograde yata.
Mercury retrograde, yeah.
Yeah, trip niyo ba yun? So, yeah, maybe you can, ako since I've never tried that, so I'm also interested to try that out. But for March, the oils are yuzu, bergamot mint. So ito yung bergamot mint talaga, hindi yung bergamot plus mint. It's bergamot mint, yuzu, and ilang-ilang extra. Okay, so yun yung 3 oils for next month. The takal will be available within the week. So, you can sign up today and check out the takal versions within the week. Okay? So, thank you so much again for joining. I hope you enjoyed this class. I hope you learned, especially about the GCMS part. And I will be uploading the question and answer part on EOP. Pero yung lesson proper, it will be on private. Okay? Thank you so much. And
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
Bye-bye.
Happy March Day.
Bye.
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 Bye.